And I had never done anything like this in the past, never been to rehab or PHP or sober living or anything like that. Never even really tried to quit. I did because I was completely without resources. I mean, I was well and truly my lease was expiring on my apartment, and there was no one who was going to take me in. No one was waiting in the wings to kind of help me out or whatever. I checked myself into rehab. My clean date is June 23rd of last year, so Tuesday will be my anniversary. And I had never done anything like this in the past, never been to rehab or PHP or sober living or anything like that. Never even really tried to quit. I did because I was completely without resources. I mean, I was well and truly my lease was expiring on my apartment, and there was no one who was going to take me in. No one was waiting in the wings to kind of help me out or whatever. I checked myself into rehab, but it was kind of more with the intention of like, okay, I'll go to rehab, I'll get a few weeks under my belt, people will see I'm doing the right thing, and then maybe they'll be like, okay, come live on my couch for a bit, we'll help you get back on your feet, build some political capital to then use to do whatever. And so I went to Paramount Wellness in Connecticut was my inpatient stay, which was great. Fantastic place. A lot of fun. I did not know what to expect. I was thinking this would be some One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Nurse Ratched, awful. I was very frightened. It did not turn out like that, which was fortunate for me. But then, so I stay there for about a month, and then, I no help still. My gambit did not work. And so I did tell my case manager there, okay, I don't know where I'm going. I don't have a place to go. And now at first, I was like, I do not care about group therapy. I do not care if, people relate to my story, or I am not under the illusion that I'm the first drug addict to ever walk this earth. That's not necessary for me. So just send me to a sober house, as close. I'm from Stamford, Connecticut. So I was send me to a sober house as close to where I live as possible. They set me up in this place in New Haven. That place was the ninth circle of hell. Okay, so I was there for a grand total of 24 hours. I'll tell you some highlights of my stay. So I was there. It was the hottest day in Connecticut in, I believe, 5 or 6 years. I remember reading in the news that day, some day in July. And it was 106 degrees. It was 15 guys all packed in this concrete basement. The house manager tells me, just so you know, if you see a few rats, that's okay. We're dealing with a little bit of an infestation. And now this part is really gross, but that's the nature of the beast. I remember walking down the stairs to the basement, where my bed was and everything. And I see this whiteboard. So steps are here. There's this big whiteboard kind of as you descend that you can read. And it's got announcements. It's got what's going on. So I called my case manager from rehab. I was like, you know what? This group therapy thing, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe is there can I get one with housing, a PHP with housing? And she's like, I got you. And so, and that's how I get up here. And Emory was delightful. I absolutely love Emory. I think I had more fun at Emory than anyone else there. I made so many friends that I still hang out with, and people have really supported me. And that's been amazing. As far as the house, I've never, at any point in the 11 months I've been here, walked into this bathroom upstairs and seen jizz on the floor. It's not come up even once. Right. So, that's the first thing we have going for us. All right. I mean, I would think the second thing, Keith, has been phenomenal, since he's been here. I mean, he's a reasonable guy. You can talk to him. If you do have a problem, I hate this meeting. Can I go to this meeting? This doesn't work for me. He'll be reasonable. He's not gonna just let you, burn the house down, but it's not just nonsense. It's I feel he kind of keeps people on a good track, but he treats you like a human being. There's no condescension. There's no I don't know. A lot of people in recovery, you're early on, and they're sit down, shut up, do what you're told, read this book, do these steps, and it's I guess some people, they need that instant discipline or whatever. Okay, fine. But it's I think there also, should be room for everyone's different, finding kind of the individual things that work for you, the coping strategies, finding what meetings, finding what kind of sponsor, whatever, it's I don't know. And so I've just felt a very supportive environment. I mean, I think that, anytime communal living, probably not everyone's gonna be your best friend, right? It's not like I can say, like, at any given time I've loved 100% of the guys in this house. But what I will say is that, 90% or something, I get along with great, and even the ones that, okay, maybe we have like our difficulties, it never escalates to, something, terrible. It's like there seems to be a good community. We all seem to like support each other pretty well. Be out there having a smoke and talk to the guys about whatever's on their mind, whatever's on my mind, and it's like I've had a lot of really supportive conversations that way, made a lot of really great connections. I go out, sometimes I'll take a couple guys from the house, go bowling, go paintball, see a movie, whatever. It's like, 'cause it's important to have fun, in recovery too. If you're getting sober or getting clean just to be miserable, it's like, what's the point, And so yeah, that's my spiel. I don't know how I did. I don't know if I
good. That was perfect.
So here's my background. So as far as like career education and everything, I did pretty well in school. I graduated from, UVA down south?
Yep.
I graduated there in 2019. I have a degree in government. It's political science. UVA just calls it government for God knows what reason. I spent my career in sales. So after college, I had a job at Indeed, like the job site and everything. I did that for like a few years. Following that, I had a brief stint at HubSpot, which is like a marketing company, like things like that. I was there very briefly. I was doing a lot of Adderall and cocaine at that time, and I was just not completely functional. So both very, very nice jobs. I mean, they just threw money at me. It was awesome. After that, I had a job at a smaller company that did training software to like banks and credit unions. So every financial institution in the country, they have to train on certain regulations lest their employees break the law, even unintentionally. They just be like, I didn't know I couldn't do that. And so I sold like training software for them for a couple years. And so like all like really, successful jobs and everything. Okay. So that last job I lost in December 24. Okay. So since that time, I was unemployed for a long time. Like I told you guys, my lease was expiring. I had nowhere to stay. I was out of resources, financial, social, whatever. Thankfully, I still had like insurance because I had Cobra. My Cobra insurance was still going. So that's how I got, into Emory and Paramount and all that. But then, so unemployment's running out. I get out of Emory, or I get out of Paramount, I'm at Emory, unemployment runs out, I need to find a job, to kind of just make ends meet and everything. I've been working at Taco Bell since September of last year. Now, what Keith's saying, and which is true, is that Taco Bell is like, and this is not to degrade my fellow Taco Bell staff, like someone needs to make the tacos, someone needs to fold the burritos, there's nothing wrong with that. But as far as like earning potential and like career and everything, that is not where I should be at in life right now. And that's something I struggle with because it's difficult. Like stopping substance abuse is one problem, like refraining from that. Rebuilding your life is a separate problem. It takes kind of a different skill set, I think. And, just as far as where I'm at, like I apply for jobs, I put myself out there. I've had a few interviews, but it's difficult. It's like, I have a gap, like I said, since December of 24. And it's like, someone asks, well, what have you been doing all this time? It's like, I had a health problem. And it's like, they kind of, side eye you a little bit, and it's like, why were you only at HubSpot for 4 months? Things just didn't work out. Family emergency. So it's a challenge, and it's something that bothers me too. It's like, I know I have unused potential. I would like to satisfy it. At the same time, one thing I'm grateful for is, being here in a relatively safe, stable environment. Like, it's not like every day it's like, oh my God, I have to go to Taco Bell. Like, I'm not like constantly beating myself up over it, but at the same time, I do want to have some urgency to like, move on with my life, 100%. I don't want to be at a sober house forever, comfortable as my stay has been. So it's just about, figuring things out, making connections, I think is one thing I'm good at, so getting to know people who, maybe have openings, maybe, that's one path to pursue, putting resumes. I have to say, having had worked at Indeed, I don't know, I do what I can. I'm thinking about, potentially, maybe it would be good for me to have a career change, from sales, because that, I will say, there's a lot of drugs in sales. If someone tells you, like, all right, you should make 75 phone calls today, it's like, well, that will be a lot less arduous if I just take a couple Adderall. Like, it really will be. Not saying that...
Culturally, too, with everyone in the office, if that's what the culture is, and that's what people are doing.
Yeah, it is. And, and so that's something I've thought about, okay, should I go back to school? Should I get, like, a new credential or whatever? My academic credentials are pretty good, it's like maybe I could do something like that. I don't know. I think I need to kind of navigate that, find the the resources, find what the path would be, you know, how to do that. So
Yeah, at your own pace, and there's nothing like being too late or too early. That's something I've learned the hard way. It is always in God's timing, and that timing is always perfect. So you've done it before, you've been successful, you are successful. So
thank you.
yeah.
I try not to get too discouraged in everything.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, you have a story to tell. You have credentials of a totally different dimension, which I think is a huge strength.
Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
if I even would share, we had a house in Westfield, Massachusetts, and we used to have a lawyer living in our sober house.
Right.
And he would wake up in the morning, suited up, go do his thing, come back home, and we asked him why still live here. This place keeps me alive. This place keeps me focused. So until I'm ready for that next step, I will stay here, build my career, and then I will progress to the next stage. And he did.
Yeah.
So yeah,
No,
your
it's
story will encourage someone one day.
thank you. No, I appreciate that. It's like, I mean, because I don't necessarily feel it's a balance, because I don't want to be at Taco Bell forever, but I also want to make my next step like intelligently too. Like if I go back to, like you said, a culture that kind of encourages habits I'm trying to escape from, that's not just staying stuck, that's going back. You know, it's like, that's the last thing I want. And so it's like, I have to be smart about it, you know, not do nothing, but do the right thing. And at the same time, like you said too, it's like this place, I feel very supported here. You know, there is a structure that works pretty well. You know, I don't feel I never have a craving, or I never feel like picking up. They would be lying to you. I do have days like that, but it's never at the point where it's like insurmountable. It's never at the point where I don't feel like, okay, I have someone I can call, something I can do about it. So, you know, so this place, you know, keeps me alive too. I mean, I agree with that. So